Southpaw, I bet you already had that typed in, just ready to hit the return button. Yeah, I'm not going to bother playing the intro. I do got to change some settings here. Um, Howdy, howdy. Thank you for joining me. We're going to wait a while. Um, you're going to hear some background noise. That's the laser running. There's a laser in action. Trying this on black scratch paper. Just a test cut, or I should say burn, and this is the image that I'm doing. So we're going to cover Harold. Man, I misjudged Harold that hit Texas. And I was planning on doing the stream around 2 o'clock, but that son of a gun made landfall at 11 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. And it sped up early this morning. It sped up and made landfall sooner than what the models was showing. So, but we'll cover Harold, which I haven't gotten an update yet from the Hurricane Center. The last update was 5 o'clock Eastern. They still haven't updated it. So we'll wait a little bit. Everybody hang tight. We'll get some more people in here. Hey, Mama. Cinnabang, Southpaw, Barker. I'm sure Jane's watching. She's not been feeling good. So, anyway, we'll talk about Harold some. I was kind of right. I figured 40 to 50 mile per hour at landfall. There was some places like Corpus Christi that got stronger winds than that from an outer band. There's been several tornado warnings earlier today, late morning, early afternoon. She's starting to wind down, or he is. We're going to cover Tropical Storm Franklin. This is a very interesting storm, and I tell you what, the models doesn't show landfall right now, but I'm not going to, say it won't. But, and then we've got another very interesting thing that might happen over the next couple weeks. That's pretty far out there. But that might come up and hit Florida. So we'll discuss that. And then the two other areas to watch out in the Atlantic. And it's one was the remnants of Emily that now has a 50% chance of reforming a tropical system in the next 7 days. So she ain't done yet. And 92L is very interesting. We'll have to keep a close eye on that over the next week. So Eastern Pacific, there's one area to watch out there. As of the latest update, it's got a 60% chance in the next 7 days. But It doesn't even have an invest number on it yet, so it's just an area to watch. Could kind of go where Hillary just went, which is not a good thing. I don't. If she goes up that same path, because Hillary sucked up all the warm surface waters, I don't give it much of a chance at this point of becoming something very strong for very long. So we'll talk about that. And I found out some more information about Maui. There's actually a security camera that possibly got what started the fire. Hey, Cat. So, and it was a power line, just like I thought. I'll have to see if I can find that. Let me go back in my history here and get this ready. While we're waiting for more people to show up. Man, I gotta go back. I've been watching so many YouTube videos.
The news out of Memphis.
Okay, I got that ready for you guys. So, well known kills. Howdy, howdy. Thank you for joining me. We're kind of waiting for some more people to show up. I'm seeing 18 viewers. It was 21. I scared a couple people off, I think. Well, they just jumped up to 25. We're getting there. We're getting there. Again, I got a little bit of background noise. Hey, JoJo. That's the exhaust fan and the laser running. I'm doing a test burn on some black scratch paper of Hurricane Hillary. And you may ask, why am I doing that? Well, first landfall of the year, okay? And also because it's the first tropical storm to hit California in something like 80 years. So it's very historic. So I figure I'd do some test cuts, test burns. I call them cuts. The program I use calls it cuts. So that's what's causing the background. Need a wolf update? I really don't have much of an update other than I found out this morning they are starting to work on the two cabins that they got. One had quite a bit of water in it, so they're having to mop the wood floors because of the mud. That's pretty much all I got. It's kind of like so as far as me visiting this next weekend. Hey, Stacy. Saturday, they're calling for 85 degrees. That's pretty much on the limit. I already told Sean that if they're going to be open, I want to go, but I want to be one of the first ones there at this time. If I have to stay up all night, I will. Hey, Lee. So I think we got enough people to go ahead and get started here. So first off, let's go over to monitor 6. Here's Harold. Let me double check. Let me refresh the page. Nope. This is a 4 o'clock Central Time update. They haven't updated it for some reason at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So it was 5 o'clock Eastern Time was the last update. 35 mile per hour winds, 999 on the millibars. It's slowly falling apart. It's a tropical depression now. Made landfall again at 11 o'clock this morning Central Time, or my time. Or no, that was Central Time. 11 o'clock this morning Central Time. And Padre Island is where it made landfall. It's still moving west-northwest at 21 miles per hour. As you can see, it's sped up because last night it was only doing 18. So it kind of surprised me. I got that one wrong. I didn't think it had enough time to make it to tropical storm status. And it was really ugly. It was really ugly. Let's come over here and look at Harold on the satellite view, but I want to go to a plot that shows a longer period of time. So this is right after landfall. Wearing my helmet. Howdy, howdy. So you can see how lopsided it is. Center of circulation's about right in there. This was just after landfall. Now it's still pulling in a band of moisture, and you can see at the end of the loop how the clouds really get overshooting tops. It gets that cauliflower look. So there's a lot of storms yet off the coast that's possibly going to hit up by Corpus Christi. Again, it made landfall at Padre Island, but it was lopsided. Everything was off the north and east side of it, so I really didn't think that it would make tropical storm status. Even though it had a clear center of circulation, it wasn't filled in around it. I do believe, let's see, what was it? That landfall, I think it was 45 mile per hour. And I said 40 to 50. So I was close on that one. But, boy, when it sped up, it threw the timing all off. So I figured it would make landfall around 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon, my time, here in Southwest Ohio. And I was going to try to do an early stream. I knew if I tried to do one earlier than that, probably nobody would be watching. So anyway, what else we got? Well, here's 92L, and 40% chance of formation over the next week. Got to keep a close eye on this one. This might hit for Bermuda. And with Emily, or the remnants of Emily, hey Lori, kind of spinning around. Does that mean the high pressure system that's out here, what we call the Bermuda High, is going to shift east and tug remnants of Emily around? And it's a 50% chance over the next week, 30 in the next couple of days. So it'll be interesting to watch that, but that's not going to affect us here in the lower 48. There's some good web pages. You can look up the USGS website. That's probably the most accurate. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat can give you some info. So Franklin is going to be pretty interesting. It's 40 mile per hour winds. It's northwest now at 6 miles per hour. This thing is really slow. There has been some rain showing up on radar here in Puerto Rico, and let me zoom in on this. This is Puerto Rico right here. I'll mention the crap that's going on because of Hillary. There's a lot of stuff going on. So anyway, Franklin, let's look at the cone on this. Now, they're calling for this dotted area again is the cone of uncertainty. They're not quite sure, but the models are showing 2 o'clock afternoon Sunday Eastern time. This thing could ramp up to 85 mile per hour, and I'll show you the models and show you what they think it's going to do after this Sunday afternoon point. It's pretty small. So, 823. So, for the Dominican Republic, which, by the way, the whole Dominican Republic, and I'll zoom in on this, this blue around here, that's tropical storm warning. And then the southern coast of Haiti. Southern part of Haiti is under tropical storm force winds. Now, naturally, they're going to get the wraparound from the storm, but it looks so far like it's going to cross over. Let's get the interactive map up here. Let's do track, past track. Come on, they won't let me click it. So anyway, we'll zoom in here. So it's going to go over the western part of Dominican Republic, and it's that's the center is going to be east of Santa Domingo. So let's look at the elevation map. Now, all these reds are really tall mountains, over 3,000 feet. And she's going to be going like right through here. So that's going to affect it quite a bit. Okay. So if it was to go more to the east side, these mountain ranges over here is not quite as tall. And what's going to happen is with it coming over here and clipping those really tall mountains, it's going to shear the bottom off the storm. But according to the models, it's going to recover. So over land, they're calling for 40 mile per hour winds. And then she's going to start getting stronger. After she gets back out to sea, 40 mile per hour winds there, but then she'll start ramping up. A lot of favorable conditions once it gets further away from Dominican Republic. 45 mile per winds at that point. Then she starts ramping up. We'll scoot on up here, almost Cat 1 hurricane winds by this point. And that's 96 hours out. So there you go on Franklin. We'll have to keep a close eye on it. Now over here on the main screen, let me go back 3 hours. As you can see, there was a tornado warning down here in Texas. There's actually been several earlier today, several severe warnings. But I tell you what's crazy is, for one, we got this low pressure system right here. So that's the trough that it created. Looks to be the one that helped drag Hillary up here. Now, Hillary's long gone. It's lost its spin. But it still brought a bunch of moisture in here. And with Harold coming in, it slung some more of that moisture up. Yeah, Gert went poof pretty quick. But as you can see with these clouds, all up through here, going up, hitting the jet stream. Here's that trough that I've been talking about that's dipping down, that will pull Franklin and steer it out to sea, what the models are showing. So let's get to now, and this is Harold. By the way, Harold is headed into northern Mexico, but it's still going to spread a lot of rain and continue bringing the rain all the way over to Pecos, Van Horn. Laredo got hit pretty bad, as well as Corpus Christi area, and to the south there, there's been flash flood warnings big time. So it's been dropping a lot of rain, 2 to 4 inches per hour in some areas from what I've seen. But look at all this rain. And some of this is the leftover of Hillary. So right now, Wyoming, we got a severe warning. We got a couple of them down here in Utah. There's been several severe warnings down here in Arizona. So all this moisture is getting pulled up. We still got a stream of moisture coming up here, and then from Harold, all the moisture that Hillary pulled out of the Gulf and came up through here, and all this is looping around into that trough. So it looks like Thursday into Friday, I'm going to be seeing, when this trough dips further south, possibility of severe storms. So that's what's happening with that. Now, as far as power outages over here on Monitor 6, right now in Texas, we got a little over 24,000 people without power. And California still has almost 21,000 people without power. So that's better than yesterday. So they're slowly getting their power back going again. So let's start looking at some of the models and what's going on now. I'm going to look at the GFS. Here's Harold down at the bottom. Remnants of Hillary is up in here. And I'm just going to play this and watch what happens. Now, remember, we got this high pressure ridge, and something I forgot to mention last night when Lisa asked me about the dew points. One reason the dew points is high is because this high pressure system taking this moisture and pulling it on around, as well as that trough that's up in here. So that's the reason why our dew points and most of the country is really high. So I'll just go ahead and play this model run. This is the 18Z run of the GFS. Watch how that swirls around the high pressure system until it starts to move out. Here comes Franklin. That's Franklin. Looks to be pretty strong at that point, 969 millibars. But then that trough right there gets a hold of it and tugs it out to sea. Let's change the region to Northern Atlantic. And there's Franklin. And see how that trough just grabs it and pulls it out. So as long as this continues to happen and the Euro's showing pretty much the same thing, that's going to be pretty cool. It'll be fun to play with, but that's not the one I want. That's not the one I want. Daggone it, I can never find it when I want it. Nothing available there. Oh, I gotta go to an ensemble. Let's look at the EPS. This is what I wanted. So let's go back in time here. Right there's Franklin, about where she's at right now. Look at this trough really digging in. Some really strong winds up here. I mean, we're talking over 120 knots, well over 120 mile per hour. So, but what's interesting is this feature right here. This is another trough. We got a low area spin right there, and we got this trough. Here's Franklin, and watch how this trough continues to dig down in here. Now, what's really interesting is when you look at the moisture profiles, when this trough really digs down closer to the Yucatan, that's going to start pulling more moisture up this way. So this is the feature I'm talking about in the future that could happen. So let's go ahead and play this. See how that trough really digs in down here? Now this is looking at the wind speeds. So there's a little bit of west to east shear for Franklin when it comes off the coast of the DR. But then that kind of goes away. And that's what allows Franklin to turn. It gets away from that west to east wind shear, and this is where on the forecast cone it actually shows it kind of turning left, making a left-hand turn, because it's got an open window right here. We got a little bit of a trough. We got a high pressure system up to Canada, and yes, this high pressure that's been out here is going to shift east. That could be why Emily is, which is about right in here right now on this run, pull Emily up that way around that eastern high. And then the other feature we got to keep an eye on, because that high pressure could shove it right towards us, or at least towards Bermuda. So here's Franklin. A lot of wind shear up in here, but nothing ahead of it. And look at these winds down here in Central America start to pull something up this way. So take this part with a grain of salt because this is clear out to August 29th. There's Franklin getting close to us, and just it gets tugged up into this trough up here and takes her away. But what's going to be interesting is what happens. Let me zoom in on it here. This is a high pressure system here, but what some of the models show, let's look at the 850 millibar, and watch this make me into a liar, because the last run showed a little something coming up out of there. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the Euro. There it is. Right there it is. You can see this that's Franklin, by the way. So you can see this little bit of energy that comes out of the East Pacific. It comes out of here. Yeah, this is a little bit too far out, but it's something to watch. It's really something to watch. And this is another pocket of energy coming off coast of Africa. So now the Euro doesn't have it getting real tight like Franklin. I mean, this is Franklin up here, but this is interesting right here. It's too far out. It's a possibility, and it's something to think about. Don't get your hopes up to go to southern Florida and chase a hurricane. But it's very interesting to see that. And this is the Euro, guys. Now it crosses Florida, and then it tends to get stronger. This is clear into September. Now, does the GFS show this? Nope. And that's kind of backwards, right? Usually the GFS shows crap that don't exist. It gets over anxious, but that's not really showing. It's showing a little bit of energy down here. Yeah, Franklin, if it gets down there in the 980s, 960 millibars, it'll be a beast. We will have some wave action from it if this model run is correct, and it's that close to the coast, which is really far away. But we're going to have some really good wave action wrapping around and slamming into the coast. So as of now, it's not going to hit the East Coast, and the GFS doesn't show that down there in Florida. On the other hand, it's starting to show some energy right here near New Orleans. Yeah, the surfers will have a good time with Franklin. So that's what I've got for that. It'll be interesting to see if the Euro does, keep. And it's been a couple different model runs on the Euro that I've seen that potential. Because of that trough that digs in down around the Yucatan. Yeah, pretty much, Bearcat. That's what surprises me, though, is the GFS don't even show it. It kind of shows a little something over by New Orleans, but usually the GFS is the one that shows before the Euro does, until the two models start getting closer together. But we'll have to keep an eye on it. That's really far out. I hate going past 7 days. I mean, good God, this is 252 hours out, clear up to September 2nd. So I know Nathan posted the possibility he might be going to see Nax instead of going to Yellowstone. But I wouldn't bank on it just yet. So what's happening in the East Pacific? Not much. We got an area to watch right here. 30% in the next 2 days, 60% in the next 7. Look at the 7-day forecast. If it's going to do anything, it's going to form right in here. But I tell you what, after Hillary went up through here, let's take a look at the sea surface temps, the latest on the analysis tools. And Eastern Pacific. There you go. This is the anomalies, above or below average. Look at all this blue water next to the coast. Now, the other day, this was not that dark a blue. It wasn't that cold, and that's right where Hillary went up through, right? Just south of California. That pretty much the track that Hillary took. Close to it. Actually, it was more like this, and then went like that. But still, it sucked up a lot of the warm waters, which is pretty shallow up in this area. It's not really deep warm waters. So this is about where Hillary got strong, real strong when it was Cat 4. So that's the reason for the blues there. So if this thing forms anything and comes up the Mexican coast, it's not going to get very strong when it gets up in here. It could get really strong down in the Yucatan or the Central America area, but it'll weaken fairly quickly, I believe. As of right now, the way things look, unless these waters really warm up. I haven't looked at the wind shear profiles, but from what I've seen in the past several days, the wind shear is no issue on the East Pacific. So what's up with the background noise? I decided to do a laser cut. Was curious to see if I can, run the laser and the exhaust fan and live stream at the same time. So I'm doing a test cut. This is the picture that I'm doing. I think it's a little bit too light from what I can tell on the camera. That's the reason why I do a test cut. I may have to darken the image up a little bit. And again, like I said at the very beginning, the reason why I want to do this, black scratch paper is the perfect thing to put it on, is for two reasons. Historically, it's been somewhere around 80 years since California got hit by a tropical storm. And two, it's the first landfall of 2023. So in the continental or the lower 48. So that's the reason why I'm playing around with that. I haven't had any good luck doing clear acrylic. Doing something wrong. I got to try and figure that out. Hey, over there in Germany, I'd like to go see Germany sometime or other. There's some beautiful country over there. Beautiful animals. I'd like to go see some of the wolves over there in Germany. So, yeah, first landfall in California since, 1939? Now, there was a system that hit California, but it wasn't a tropical storm. It actually dumped more rain than Hillary did from what I can remember, and that was in 1976. But from what I've read, 1939 was the last tropical storm that actually made landfall on the West Coast. So I think that was Kathleen. Oh, good point. So I showed you over here on the main, and we'll go back 3 hours. The jet stream, because of this stupid high pressure ridge, but it's summertime, the jet stream's been pretty much staying up here, right? So the cool thing about the high pressure ridge, probably the only thing I like about the high pressure ridge, and I haven't gotten any official reports, but Hillary and the atmospheric river brought a lot of moisture up this way. I wished I had radar up there in Canada that I could use my Gibson Ridge products on. Here's that trough. So, like, my air quality index got up to 51 today. 50 and below is fine for Ohio. It's down to 50 right now. So we haven't been seeing the Canadian smoke bombs like we used to. For one, the jet stream's been kind of shoving most of the smoke in the upper atmosphere to the east. But there's a lot of rain that went up into Canada, and you can see it's starting to wrap back around in that trough, and it's going to be coming down and then up towards the northeast potentially. But that rain really helped a lot of the wildfires. I don't have the site loaded up to look at it. I may do that tomorrow, and we'll take a look at the wildfires. But I know there was a lot of rain overnight that went across southern Canada that probably really helped out. At least it squashed the smoke. So, gosh, I pretty much told every topic I was going to talk about tonight in 30 minutes. What the hell? So, but yeah, I haven't heard of any really bad Canadian smoke bomb issues. It's been fairly light for a long time. I'm sure they've got a lot of those under control. Oh yeah, Maui. Let's get over here to Monitor 6. Now, this is the possible thing that started the fires, possibly, and it was power lines.
Maui and the death toll climbing to 111 overnight. As we learn more about what may have
It's actually,
caused the first
this is
fire,
from 5 days ago. Last death toll I heard is 114 and 850 still missing.
Start this off with the latest. Good morning, Gia.
Let me skip ahead here. Like I say, this is 5 days old. Here's the security video, and watch this up in here.
Security camera captures what could be an early trigger in that devastating
Boom.
wildfire. August 7th at 10:47 p.m., a day early. You hear a witness describe a flash that might be a tree falling on a power line.
It's windy, and then there's a flash, and I think that's when it's trees falling on a power line. The power goes out.
One expert saying those videos taken in upcountry Maui show the flames spreading and maybe the first.
So, possibly, that's what. No, that was what happened. Was it was a tree that fell down on a power line, and it sparked and started a fire in that area. At least it definitely did that. But what they're saying is that is potentially. Hey, thanks for the follow. Potentially, what started the fire originally. They had 70 to 80 mile per hour winds because of the big high pressure system and a little bit of influence from Dora that was 500 miles to the south. So the two winds coming together increased the wind speed, and yeah, they were in a massive drought. And like I said last night, it's really sad because the truth's starting to come out. The Hawaiian Electric Company, instead of spending money on maintenance, and since they've been in a drought, clear out the brush and an easement around all the power lines, instead of doing that, they were spending their money on renewable energy because of Biden's Green New Deal. They were getting incentives and getting money to invest in that instead of doing maintenance on what they already had. So that's the reason why there's people getting fired and resigning. So, and another thing today, to continue on with Sleepy Joe's visit, is there was signs. I seen video on TV. There was people holding signs when Biden got off the plane. Go home, Joe. Little too late, Joe. And so there were people really pissed off at President. And and then he mumbled all through of his speech and tried to talk about how he almost lost his house and his wife, his 67 Corvette, and a cat over a little tiny fire in his kitchen that they put out in less than 20 minutes. He come nowhere near losing what them people in Maui did. So a lot of people in Maui are just pissed off at Joe trying to say that he knows how they feel because he's been there and done that. He before he flew to Maui. Now you got to remember he was on vacation the first 2 weeks of this month, right? At the beach, hiding. So how much area burned in Maui? Most of Lahaina. Almost the whole city is gone. So, and that's not counting the other fire that was more up in the hills. And the east side, what they call the upstream fire, there were some houses damaged there too, but nothing like the west side over there to Lahaina. But anyway, so he gets off a vacation, right? What does he do? He goes to Lake Tahoe and starts another vacation, and then he flies to Maui. As soon as he got done at Maui, he only spent a few hours at Maui. He heads back to Lake Tahoe, where one of his supporters, an $18 billion rich guy, owns this mansion that he rented to Joe Biden, supposedly at normal cost. But there's some interesting things happening there. I haven't got the full story just yet. That they are upset with the owner of that mansion for renting it out. I don't know if he didn't have the right permits to do it or whatever. So, but yeah, Sleepy Joe goes back to Lake Tahoe for another vacation to last him through the end of the month. That's 2 vacations in 1 month. When I used to work at factories and other places, I never got a vacation the first year. The second year, I got like 3, I think it was 3-day vacation. And he gets 2 in 1 month. So, oh my God, I don't want to start another rant like I did last night. I didn't post the VOD because most of it was rant or showing Ellison video, which I probably shouldn't have done without permission. But I tell you what, I mean, it's crazy. He's been in office, 2.5 years, 3 years. And he's had more vacations than any president in history. So it's nuts, and we're paying for it here in the U.S. We're paying for his vacations. I wish somebody paid for me to go somewhere like Lake Tahoe and live in a mansion for a week or 2. So anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. I'll keep you guys up to date tomorrow night. We'll take a better look at Franklin and see what's happening. Harold's going to continue to drop a lot of rain in southwestern Texas, even though the center of it, which it's going to fall apart really quick. It's going to go over to Mexico. There is some mountain ranges down there where it's headed. So but I don't see much more of an issue other than flooding out of Harold. And we'll keep a close eye on Franklin and 92L. and that area to watch in the East Pacific. I think those are the three that I really want to keep my attention on. I'm going to get back to laser cutting. I got some ideas I want to play with tonight and try to refine so I can start getting some merchandise to sell. So for now, everybody, thank you all for being here. Any subs, bits, direct donations to my PayPal that I might have missed, I greatly appreciate it. It helps me to keep all of this running. So, and I'm thinking about doing away with a couple monitors for now. Or run the laser over on the other two monitors. So anyway, thank you all. And we'll catch you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, unless something major happens, which I don't see over the next several days. So, peace, top of top for me. Catch you on the next broadcast. Stay safe. Love y'all.